coach, Coach Steve Parker. Welcome, sir.
Yes, thank you.
Coach, if you may, just give us a brief summary of the match from your perspective, please.
Yeah, I think obviously tough day at the office. A lot of things were exposed today, so but I'm sure there'll be questions from the floor regarding that. I just felt coming to the match, obviously a little bit short in terms of some experienced players injured and suspended. So a very young squad that came today to play at Orlando, and it's always one of those where it can go well, or you could have an afternoon like today. So unfortunately, I think the difficult part is when you come out and it's going to be a tough day, but you then concede from a set piece. That makes it even more difficult. And then obviously the second goal, we obviously didn't deal with well enough. And then you 2-0 down against a good team. And then second half we came out and we try to be brave. We try to change the shape a bit, try to sort of get two strikers up front, maybe try a little bit more direct, see if we could turn the opposition, maybe get in behind, force a couple of things. And then when you're doing that, you do sort of expose yourself defensively because you've got numbers forward, and then you can run the risk of getting sort of picked off and 1v1s at the back, which ended up being the case. But yeah, you sit in a situation where you've either got to try and change things and be brave, and hopefully by doing that you maybe get a goal in the first 15-20 minutes of the second half, and then the game changes. But once the third goal went in, then obviously it's the game is done. And then it was just a matter of some pride and maybe protecting one or two players that are on 3 yellows, hence 1 or 2 substitutions. Because obviously we have a massive game this coming Friday against Cape Town City at home, which is a must-win situation for us. So overall, probably outplayed, outclassed, out-experienced. Just got beat by a far better team than us today.
As per norm, we've got a roving mic. We're now open for questions from the floor. As per norm, please identify yourself as well as the media company you present prior to asking your question.
Coach, Lorenzo here from the Sea Times. So where does this performance, at first half performance in particular, in terms of the worst performances since you've been at this club? And do you think that having so many young players in the team is some complacency from the experienced players because almost for lack of a lack of competition and intensity in training?
Just to answer your second part, I don't think that's the case. I think we train well, we train with good intensity. I've never had an issue with the training. So the question of the first half becomes relative to your situation. So when you've got some really experienced players out, injuries and suspensions, and you put a team out like that, you've got what I got to weigh up as a coach is how much to our potential did we play with what we had on the field. So it wasn't to our potential. We could have and should have done better in the first half and probably overall the 90 minutes. But one has also got to just put things into context and not get into a situation and in a panic sort of situation where you think the performance was of such a nature that it just didn't warrant any positives in it. But in saying that, a very harsh lesson learnt. It does become difficult, when the opposition are able to bring in international players as substitutes, and we at this stage are thin, and having to bring in players that are just barely, got less than 4 or 5 PSL appearances. However, we've got to take the lessons learned from this, and that's the only way you can grow as an individual, as a team, as a club, is take this on the chin, because we have to. We can't hide away from the fact that we're given a football lesson today, and then regroup, reset, and figure out with 12 matches to go what needs to be done to ensure that we continue to be competitive and stay in this league.
Joseph from Sports Coach. Answered part of my question. Results are not forthcoming. Stellenbosch was one of those teams that was so feared, especially at Danny Craven Stadium. What went wrong after the season that you had and looking at where you are now, this where you, in fact, how far are you from pressing the panic button, looking at the position in a number of games?
Yeah, I think it's normal when, we probably overachieved last season, finishing fourth. It was a really outstanding season for us. We missed out on a CAF position by goal difference. So it did bring the end of a sort of a 3-year cycle to the way we do our things and the way we plan. And obviously, it was intentional, and we did release a lot of experienced players. And we also unfortunately lost two key players in Ashley Dupree and Zita Kunika, as well as Juan Ortiz getting injured in the last game of the season against Cape Town City, and has been out since. So it's not like we don't train the same, or we don't have the same processes, or we're not consistent in what we do. It's just a question of we're being challenged right now as a team and as a club in terms of how we deal with this and how we respond to the pressure that invariably comes when you're not getting results. Besides today, I think our previous 4 performances, although we didn't get a win, arguably we should have got 4 to 5 points more than we done. Just missing penalties within the last 5 minutes of matches. Decisions not going your way. A clear penalty decision against Galaxy in the last sort of 7-8 minutes not given. So then, you've got to put things into perspective, and you've got to analyze and see where you are heading and going. So today, I think, was just a culmination of a lot of stress on the players, a lot of commitment and effort given by them when we played the 3 matches in 6 days last week. And I think today was just a bridge too far to cross, especially against a good Orlando Pirates team. Obviously, they've come off a win and broke their hoodoo of not scoring in the second half. So, there was a lot going for them, playing against a struggling team that are, battling to get a win. The depth of our team is getting tested. So it was all set up for Pirates to be ruthless and get the job done today, of which they did. So we didn't do ourselves too many favours, as I said, in those first 2 goals that we conceded. But yeah, it is a tough period for us. But we've been there. We know what we need to do. We know how to get out of it. And we don't need to start panicking. I think once you do that, then it can just get worse. So yes, we're mindful of the situation. Yes, we are worried about the situation. Yes, we need to find solutions. Those are all yeses. But for me, there's no need to panic.
After Coach Kamkhalo Mokhale from VOFM. Coach, just to get on what my colleague has asked in terms of pressure, results, and pressure to deliver, and the thin squad that you have, is there also pressure to probably also look into the transfer window, looking that it's still open, trying to probably ease the thin squad that you have so that you can deliver the necessary results?
Yes, I think once the window comes and goes, you can't do anything. So we have 9 or so days left. We have brought in Andre de Jong, who is a very good footballer, who I think will add what we are lacking in terms of experience, the creativity and calmness in the final third. He is a full international, so he's definitely a plus signing. Hopefully we can get his work permit finalised by next week, and there are 1 or 2 others that I'm hoping that we can get over the line in this week.
Coach, I'd like on the loss, video story from the Jason. Coach, I just want to find out that you just mentioned that you have a team squad, youthful players, academy graduates. I just want to find out what are the main things you've noticed about the young boys from this game, that the positive things you've noticed from the games, and how long it will take you to build them and make sure that they are ready to face another big team like Orlando Pirates. And handle the pressure that comes with games like that, because you just mentioned how you're struggling with the debt, and it seems like it's still going to go a long way. So in order for you to rely on them and for them to end up producing the result, how long do you think it will take you to develop them and turn them into better players in the future? Thank you.
Yeah, look, I think it's not a secret that we started the season with a relatively young squad with a lot of our players getting promoted from a really good season. We played with maybe a little bit more experience than we did today. In our first encounter against Pirates, we absolutely outplayed them, got done again, penalty not given against Van Rooyen, which was clear, a free kick which ended up in a yellow card for our player, which the free kick should have gone our way, and they go score from there. So we show that we can compete against the teams like Pirates, and that we've just maybe lost a little bit of our way in terms of the depth of the squad being tested. So, you know, when you normally have a squad, you have 14 or 15 players that you're going to rely on for the season, with, you know, players 15 to 20 having sort of good backup, and then maybe the younger players from, you know, maybe squad player 20 to 25 young. But now, unfortunately, those 20 to 25 players we are having to use more often than we would like to right now. So, you know, I keep saying it, when you have that situation, it's short-term risk but long-term reward. The only lesson these players can learn from today, that it's not Diski, you're not winning the league, you're not going to next generation and beating Leicester City 7-2. You know, it's the now, and it's the pressure of the position that we're on the log, and you know, some of them will stand up and rise. I mean, you look at the player like Oluwetu Makanya, 18 years old, centre back. I thought he was superb again today, done everything that he could. You know, he couldn't defend everybody, so but what he had to do, he done really well. So we have to learn from it, and you've got to trust that these players from this defeat realize a couple of things in terms of where they're at in their careers, so that they don't get ahead of themselves. You've got to see, you know, the caliber of player that we came up against today was of a high level. So those are the lessons that we need to learn, and it's natural development that will take place. The players are improving. They've shown. There's a number of players I can name, but that will be for another day, that already have shown improvement since the beginning of the season.
Final 3 questions.
Good afternoon, Coach Velila from CBC here. Just on the point that you've just made now, I think you're on 9-match winless streak now, and how much of this are you taking from I think your experience from 2 seasons ago, a season before? But I think you went to the last day of the season still not sure if you would go to the playoffs. How much of the experience from that season are you taking in this now? And I think your next game is a derby, Western Cape derby. When you're in a winless streak like this, are you always looking at the next game to turn things around, and when it doesn't happen, what becomes your motivation?
Yes, it is a long streak, not winning. The longer the streak, the more likely you'll get a win eventually. So, you know, there's no better game than at home against the derby at Danie Craven on a Friday evening for us to turn things around. We've traditionally done really well against Cape Town City, and I'm expecting a big, massive game on Friday, and trusting that we can change things around and get a win, because I think that's what we need right now. It's not like besides today, it's not like we can't win matches. We've put ourselves into positions to win matches. It's just maybe the confidence and the belief, you know, just disappears the longer you don't get the win. So it's a massive game for us. You know, there's fine lines, margins, and that we got outplayed today. We got beat, but had we won, which was not likely considering the performance today, would be 2 points off Orlando Pirates. The mighty Orlando Pirates, with the resources that they have. Unfortunately, it was not the case, so it's a bigger difference. But yeah, it's you look at Sekhukhune, you look at Chipper when Morgan took over, you look at Maritzburg now. You know, they've gone on streaks, and it's just elevated them in the log table. And I believe that we have it in us. It may not have looked like that today, but we have it in us. If we can get a result against Cape Town City, then we play Chipper thereafter to get, you know, points in the next 2 matches, which I believe that if we don't, then it really becomes a dogfight at the bottom. So the next 2 fixtures for us, in reality, away to Pirates with the squad that we had today, was always going to be difficult. But Friday, hopefully with a couple of incomings, some new signings, you know, we can kickstart the last part of the season and be, you know, more competitive.
The first question was on dealing like 2 seasons ago, the experience.
Yeah, no, if you don't learn from those experiences, then you shouldn't be in the game. I've been there. I've been in relegation battles in the past. I know what it takes. So we obviously have learned from that, and there's still 12 games to go, so it's 36 points. I don't want to be thinking in that direction right now. The most important part is our next match, which offers us opportunity to rebound or bounce back from today's loss.
Okay, it's clear that Velile hasn't been with us for a while. Velile, we are restricting ourselves to one question at a time, please. So, because you've already asked two, that's going to be the final question from Mr. Kare.
Thank you, Coach. Nick from the College of Teams. You made a statement saying that there's no need to press penalties. Now, I've looked at the log. Things are not looking good. I've even put this practice of pushing, languishing, second from the bottom. Now, I just want to find out from you, what is the mandate from the clubs in the coaches this kind of season?
We don't have mandates at our football club. Our mandate is to continue progressing as a club, developing, creating opportunities for players in the Greater Winelands region. So we have our strategic objectives, and we're fulfilling all those strategic objectives. One of them is being a successful PSL team. If you take into consideration the previous 3 seasons, that I think we've done that, considering we finished as high as 4th in our 3rd season. So I don't really understand your hit and run statement. I'm not one who panics. Maybe you panic when you've got a deadline to put in a report or an article, and then you panic and get it in time. But I'm not one that panics. I'm calm about the situation. But it doesn't mean I'm not mindful of it. I definitely am. But panicking right now with a young squad, it would just make it worse for them.
Thank you, Coach. We've reached the conclusion of our press conference.